Hello and welcome to the Up the Chels podcast with me, James Cundy, and alongside me is...
Kweku, Afari.
Hello, Kweku. How you doing? You
I'm
right?
not too bad. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. So we are going to be talking a lot about Chelsea today.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot about Chelsea.
I'm excited, mate. The season's almost upon us.
I know it's going to be a really exciting season. But yesterday, you were at Chelsea yesterday, weren't you? About Chelsea versus Tottenham.
Yeah, it was nice to be home, man. I hadn't been to Stamford Bridge inside the stadium for a little while, so it was nice to see the lads and see the Champions League trophy.
Good as well,
mate, it was really good.
Really
It was almost like a full house, and it was just good to be back home, man. It was just almost like a pilgrimage back to your homeland, and seeing all the Chelsea fans excited. And normally pre-season games can be a bit of a damp squid, but it was really
that
good.
One looked good because it was against Spurs as well. I mean,
exactly.
I know we drew 2-2, which is a bit annoying. But any game against Spurs, both fans are always a bit up for it as well, aren't they?
Exactly. So it was good, man.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, going from that game, because it was 2-2, wasn't it? And Chelsea had quite a good start. They had quite a good start in the first half. 2-0 up. Ziyech scored second half. He scored some really good goals, didn't he?
He was really good.
Did he impress you a lot?
Yeah, man, and he's kind of showing in pre-season, showing the form that we hoped to see last season, and he's showing us the reason why Ajax fans loved him so much. Like the Wizards of Amsterdam, he showed it yesterday. He was running the game. He had kind of like a free role. So he was dropping deep to pick up the ball. He was just picking up these half spaces. He combined quite well with Callum Hudson-Odoi as well. So he had a really good game and scored two really good goals.
He does look good, actually.
Yeah, man, he's really good.
I know it's only pre-season. I've seen a lot of Chelsea players in the past, like especially Ross Barkley is one of them, who had some really good pre-seasons, and then when it came to the main season wasn't the best. But I thought he looked pretty good, actually, Ziyech.
He was really good, man, and I'm excited to see how or where Tuchel deploys him coming up this season, because we've got so many attacking talents, and we're going to talk about possibly some incoming players as well. So I'll be interested to see where Ziyech slots in. But he really impressed, and hopefully has a good season coming up.
Are there any other players that you saw from yesterday? I mean, one of them that springs to mind for me is Trevor Chalobah. He looked really good. He looked really, really good, actually. Mate,
he could stake a claim for a place, and maybe not in the starting lineup, but in the pre-season games that I've seen, he's played really well. He had one tackle yesterday that prevented Spurs from scoring a goal in the second half, which was really impressive. And obviously, we know about his brother Nathaniel, who was touted as being one of the heralded talents from Stamford Bridge or from Cobham. But Trevor's performed really well in pre-season, man. And Malang Sarr didn't really cover himself in glory in the game, so it'll be interesting to see if he can push his way into Tuchel's plans coming up.
It will be interesting because you've still got Silva and Andres Christensen still to come back. So I'm not so sure if he'll actually start or get a place in the squad. But I mean, I don't know whether he could maybe be on the bench or maybe needs a bit of time out on loan and we just stick with the squad we've got.
Well, he's
put himself with Zuma as well. I'm not sure what's going to happen with him.
That's the thing with Zuma. It's kind of things are up in the air at the moment. There's talks about Cundy coming in and Zuma being part of that deal. But Chalobah's put himself in the shop window, and that's all he can do at this stage. So I'm really happy for him. I'm really happy he's performing, and we'll see what happens in this upcoming season.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's move on from yesterday's game, because the one thing we all really want to talk about is Lukaku. I'm so excited about this. When I heard the news, I did a little jig. I was quite excited about the idea of him coming back to Chelsea. Apparently, there are reports in Italy that apparently he's already greeted Thomas Tuchel, and he's already spoken to Chelsea players, and it looks as though this deal is going to be done. I believe it's for about 130 million euros, which is about 110 million in pounds, which would break the British transfer record, which would be unbelievable.
Well, this summer's been absolutely crazy. We've seen Jack Grealish. Looks like he's making the move to Man City, and it looks like we're going to break that record, bringing in Lukaku, and then it looks like Man City will then break it again by bringing in Harry Kane. So this summer is it's
going to be a lot of money. You wouldn't have thought that, though, after COVID and all that's happened. You wouldn't have thought actually that these clubs would spend all this money, but Chelsea and Man City are making moves. We're
really like stating our intent with these moves. We know that there's an opportunity there to maybe go and do some amazing things this season. I think bringing in Romelu Lukaku, and I've said this previously as well, like Chelsea, in my lifetime supporting Chelsea, and since Abramovich has come in especially, we've maybe had some awful transfer windows, speaking back to 2017 when we brought in those players that we still haven't shifted. We should
have signed Lukaku that summer.
Exactly. That's when we should have signed him. He went to Man United and we signed Morata. But we've always addressed our issues in the transfer window, so I was confident that we weren't going to go this summer without bringing in a striker, and we've got one of the best ones in the world. Obviously it's not Haaland, but I think he's the next best option, mate. He's 28, he's in his prime, he's going to definitely score goals in the Premier League.
And I think with his build and how he is as a striker, I think actually he could get a few more years out of the way he plays, because he doesn't rely on his pace. He's quite quick and he's so strong as well. But he doesn't really rely on his pace too much, because he plays with his back towards the goal. So if when he's got the ball comes into him and he's got a defender behind him, he can roll that defender.
Exactly.
And that you don't really lose that. I mean, Drogba played until he's 34, and he was the best at doing stuff.
Exactly.
Like that.
And Lukaku's always spoke about his admiration for Drogba. That was his hero. So when the talks about Lukaku coming to Chelsea start to rumble on, it just makes sense. He's a Chelsea striker. He's a Chelsea striker.
Right.
It feels
right.
right.
It feels right. There are some signings that I've seen Chelsea make in the past. Going back to Morata, that was the one which I did question.
Yeah.
But this one, it fits.
It fits.
It fits like a glove.
It
It
fits.
really does.
It's perfect. And also, I'm waiting for you see those YouTube compilation videos of like Lukaku unfinished business with such like shitty house music at the back. So I'm waiting for that, mate. I'm waiting patiently for that because I know it's coming.
Well, this is what Tuchel said about Lukaku. I've got a quote here. Tuchel said, "Lukaku is a fantastic player, but he's not in my squad. Everyone wants to join my squad. I can imagine a lot of players want to come and join Chelsea." It sort of reminds me a little bit of when Frank Lampard was talking about Havertz. He's like, he's not my player. He's not my squad yet. But I kind of like that he said, everyone wants to join my squad. Yeah. It's a bit of, I don't know, It's
bullish.
It is bullish.
Yeah.
It's a bit of, with top dogs.
We're European champions, mate. We're European champions, and we are one of the most attractive prospects, especially for players coming from abroad, because we know that London is the hub of the UK. Yeah. And so it's hard for players to assimilate and move to Manchester, where maybe the climate's a little bit different and the environment's a little bit different. So coming to London, we are always a prime option for talents that want to come and join the Premier League. And Lukaku seems like another one of those players that wants to come and join the Chelsea revolution. So well on him, and I'm looking forward to seeing Lukaku back in the blue Chelsea shirt.
I mean, I think it would be. It's like it's a bit romantic in a way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When he went to Man United, I was actually a little bit, not heartbroken, but I was quite upset that he went to Man United. But I can understand why he did, because Man United is a massive club. I know we don't like to say it, but it's probably the biggest club in the world. And Jose Mourinho was there at the time. And, him growing up, Lukaku's always stated that Chelsea is his club. He's always said that. But if you look at the Chelsea which he saw growing up, the main figure at Chelsea at the time was Jose Mourinho winning those titles. So he would have seen Jose do that. When you've got a manager like Jose Mourinho's stature wanting you can totally understand why he's gone to Man United.
Exactly. And I feel like it was good for him to have those couple of years in Italy to kind of round off his game. Yeah. He's introduced a lot more to his game. He's incredible in the link-up now. His touch seems a lot better than it was at Manchester United. He seems in better shape as well. And mentally, he's dogged, man. He doesn't take, and I'm not going to swear, but he doesn't take any nonsense. And I feel like he's the perfect kind of striker for Chelsea. And I think he's going to come in straight away and score a lot of goals.
Yeah, well, I felt it was a shame that he never actually got to work with Conte at Chelsea. Do you know? It looks as though that Conte has really developed his game to another level now. You always saw Lukaku at Everton, and he was always a really decent striker, but you were always questioning. I remember the stats he had against those big six teams, and they're never quite the best. They were never really, the level of that people wanted. But I mean, if you look at the goals he scored last season, he scored 30 goals last season. He had 10 assists, and I thought he had a decent Euros as well.
He did, and he's like, the amount of goals he scored for Belgium is absolutely ridiculous. He's their record goal scorer, and he's exactly what you need in the modern striker. And really and truly, when we set out on this summer, there's 4 strikers you want to go and get. Harry Kane, who we can't get because we're Chelsea, and he's not. Levy ain't going to sell Kane to Chelsea. Lewandowski, who's going to be difficult to prize away from Bayern Munich, even though there was links. Haaland, who we're linked with, and Lukaku. Those are the 4 best strikers in the world. We've got one of them, so can't really complain.
You're spot on. You're absolutely spot on. He's world class. I think you're absolutely right. He's a world class striker. So let's say we do get him, which I think we will now. I think it's pretty obvious that he will be joining Chelsea. What do you think's going to happen for the rest of the season? Before this all happened and before we didn't have Lukaku, I wasn't so sure if we could push for a title. But if we do get Lukaku, I think we've got a chance.
I think we've got a chance. I feel like if you weigh up our opposition, Man City are Man City, and if they're bringing Jack Grealish, which looks like it's happening, and they're bringing Harry Kane,
that'd be such a cheat.
They're going to be formidable. But we've got a chance. We saw us turn Man City over 3 times at the back end of last season. So we've got that psychological edge over them. And it's just about picking up those points in the games that we drop. Think about games last season where we dropped points against West Brom twice. Like that, we can't have that. And I feel like with Lukaku banging in goals and like not being an over-reliance on players like Timo Werner to score goals, I feel like our team is more well-rounded. And I definitely back us to be in the title race and possibly win it next season.
No, I think you're right. I think with the team where Chelsea dropped points last season, you're right. You look at those games, West Brom, those two games against West Brom were poor, and even one of them was under Tuchel, which was a bit of a
yeah. We got the I think it was Thiago Silva got a red card.
That's right.
And then
Thiago Silva was poor in both games.
Yeah, he was.
The first one when Lampard was in charge.
Yeah, well, that first one I think was the crux. I think the first one was not the beginning of the end for Lampard, because it was right at the beginning of the season. We did have good moments after that, but that was the game where Marcus Alonso kind of stormed off, and it kind of caused a bit of friction in the dressing room. And I don't think we ever fully recovered from that. But I don't see that happening this season against teams like that. I think we're going to pick up points in the games. We're going to pick up points.
No, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think there are, if you look at the last game of the season against Aston Villa, that was you had to win that game, because if we win that game, we get top 4, and we end up losing it, and we had to rely on Spurs beating Leicester. And, as I think I said before in another podcast, I was celebrating Spurs scoring and I felt very dirty.
Felt so dirty.
And I don't want that. I don't want that this season. I think if you're going to go out and get Lukaku, it can't be a top 4 scrap. We've had that for quite a few seasons now, and that's, for me, that's not Chelsea.
No, it's not.
Chelsea are fighting for titles. They're fighting for the top 2 places. They're not fighting for 3rd. They're not fighting for 4th.
No.
We finished, 5th under Conte, and that was... Yeah. But I know we ended up with an FA Cup, but that's not Chelsea. And I think if we do get Lukaku, I think we can really push them. And even if we don't win the league, I think there are other competitions. I think we can... I personally think we can win the Champions League again. And I know I know Nottingham Forest did it in 79 and 80 to win back-to-back Champions League titles. Yeah. But I think we can do it.
We're well placed. And if you look at the Champions League run last season, we were untouched, really. We were unscathed. We didn't really... the opposition didn't really lay like a glove on us in the games that mattered. Yeah. So... yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you there. I think we've definitely got a chance in the Champions League, especially in a format where it's a 2-legged affair. I feel like we can get the better of most teams over 2 legs. The Premier League is the Premier League, and we have to see what Man City do, because Man City could just go on a roll and win a lot of games, and we can't do anything about that. We can just win our games. But yeah, I don't disagree. We can go on a good run in the Champions League this season.
What do you think about Timo Werner? Because it's a weird one. Yeah, I know. Yeah, a lot of Chelsea fans always laugh when Timo Werner's name's mentioned. For me, I felt like he has a really good impact on the squad, personally. I think a lot of Chelsea fans aren't the biggest fan of him. I can understand why, because he misses so many chances. Do you think he'll still get game time under Tuchel? Do you think he'll still, if Lukaku comes in, do you think he'll still play?
Yeah, he's a weapon. He's got... he might not necessarily be the sharpest in the opposition's box in terms of finishing his chances. Again, he had a goal ruled off yesterday for offside, which actually wasn't offside, which is his luck. But he's a weapon. He stretches the opposition, and I think in a similar vein to the way Christian Pulisic has been used as a weapon, he can stretch opposition. He might not start as many games as he did towards the back end of last season because he was really integral to how Chelsea played. But he's definitely going to have a part to play for Chelsea, and I think it's quite good that all the onus is not going to be on him this season to score the goals. So I feel like he's going to have a good season. I'm not too sure how many goals he's going to score, but he's definitely going to be effective for Chelsea.
I think you're right. I think when he came in, his record at Leipzig was so good. I think everyone expected, even me, I expected him to be scoring 20 plus goals. And he had an okay season. It was actually okay. Yeah. It's just the fact he missed so many chances is what gets highlighted on social media, and it's played out constantly over Twitter and stuff like that about people's misses, because no one actually cares if he scores. It's about the misses, and he missed quite a few poor ones last season.
It's the tribalism of football, isn't it? So opposition fans are always going to latch onto that. And I've done the same thing with Bobby Firmino when Liverpool fans try to define him as, he's not really a striker, he's a false 9, but he's an inside forward, he's a trequarista. I'm like, he's a striker that doesn't necessarily score goals. So I can understand the banter from other fans when they're like, Timo Werner, you bought him for this much money, he doesn't score goals, because I get it. Because I would be doing, if he played for any other team apart from Chelsea, I'd be doing that. So I get it. But I feel like he's had time to assimilate in the Premier League. He understands what it's about. I like the fact that him and Kai Havertz have got a strong bond as well. They can help each other progress, and I feel like he's going to have a decent enough season.
I feel as though Chelsea's squad, we've got so much depth in that squad. Going forward, you've got Kai Havertz, you've got Christian Pulisic, potentially Lukaku now, Werner, and you've got Hudson-Odoi as well, and then not to mention Ziyech. I mean, the names there
are crazy.
I mean, those players can get into most of the teams we're competing with. It's kind of scary in a way.
It is. Well, yesterday, the second half, we made a lot of rotations against Spurs, and we saw our second team play, and we've just got so much strength and depth. There is a lot of deadwood we need to shift in the squad, and we need to see that pretty sharpish because the season's rolling around pretty quickly. But we've got so much strength and depth that an injury here or there won't affect us as much as it will affect other teams. And we saw the lack of strength and depth hurt Liverpool last season, and that's where City really showed their dominance. And I feel like we're in a similar bracket in terms of we can play a second 11.
Me, you mentioned Liverpool there. Sorry to interrupt, but with Liverpool, I think you're right. I don't think Liverpool have got that depth. They lose Mo Salah. I don't know where they go next.
Struggling.
I really do think
look at their midfield.
struggle.
They lost they lost Wijnaldum and they lost Grusic, who didn't really play for them.
Yeah.
But they haven't really brought in anybody. Jordan Henderson was linked with moves way earlier in the window. So they've got lack of depth in midfield. And I do think Thiago Alcantara will have a good season for them. But yeah, where they lack strength and depth, we've got that in abundance. And I feel like it sets us in good stead for the upcoming season.
So do you think we're going to win the title?
Let's whisper it. We're gonna win the
league.
Yeah, mate, I do think so. I always back Chelsea to win the league, but I just feel like we've got it.
Under Frank to win the league first season.
I did, yeah. No, not his first season. His second season, yeah. But yeah, I feel like we've got enough, and if we don't win it, at least we're going to give City a good run. And I know United are going to be there, and Liverpool might be there. I want to close the gap. I want to challenge for a title, like you alluded to earlier. 2017, when we won the title, was the last time we've been in the title race.
Yeah.
It's been too long for Chelsea, and we do need to
we didn't even expect to be in a title run that time.
We benefited from not being in Europe that season.
Yeah,
and
you're so right.
And so I feel like it's time. It's about time. It's been 4 or 5 years since that title win, and I feel like we should now be pushing the top teams in the league for winning the title.
So give me your top 4 then. Let's say for the top 4. What would it be?
So I've done this before, so I want to make sure I'm consistent with it. So Chelsea top.
Yeah.
United second, City third.
City third.
And Liverpool fourth. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I do. I know
Leicester. Left Leicester.
I think Leicester are going to be fifth. I think Leicester. Well, Fofana had a horrible injury yesterday, and I feel like there's talks about Maddison going as well.
Yeah.
Leicester are always going to be great, and they're going to be there or thereabouts, but I think they're going to miss out. I think Liverpool are going to be in top 4 this season.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, fourth Liverpool, third City, second United, and top Chelsea. I think Man City, I know we talked about Chelsea winning the Champions League, but I think Man City are going to go hell for leather for the Champions League this season.
I think if they get Harry Kane, I think you're right. You're right. But then again, you never know. If Chelsea are there in the final again, you might get, demons come out again from last season, and the 3 wins in a row against them.
We'll fancy our chances.
Might be a bit of a mind block, hey?
Yeah, mate.
But, we've got to get there first before we start saying we're going to win the second Champions League. But Annika, let's wrap it up there, I think.
Yeah, mate.
I'll give my top 4 as well.
Go on.
So Chelsea, Man City, United, and I'm going to leave Liverpool out and go Leicester.
Oh, mate, I love it.
Liverpool now.
I love it. So we're both picking Chelsea to win the league. Shock on the Up the Chels podcast.
Well, if we get Lukaku, I think we'll do it.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, Tuchel's a genius, I think.
Yeah.
He's an absolute genius.
He is.
But anyway, let's wrap it up there. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much,
Enjoyed
James.
this one very much.
I always enjoy them.
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah.
Subscribe to it, like it, share it as well.
Yeah, and we'll be back next week with
we'll do the Super Cup preview as well. That's coming up.
Excited.
Hopefully Lukaku will be there for that.
Can you imagine?
Right the wrongs that missed penalty.
Mate, exactly. It's coming full circle. Romelu Lukaku, unfinished business.
Unfinished business. Okay, well, thanks for listening, and like, subscribe, and up the Chels.
Up the Chels.